Colin here from Colin's Beauty Pages, and I'm here with another episode of our series Scoop on the Gloop, where we look at interesting products and say what we as industry insiders think about them. And my trusty Gloop hound Samantha has been out looking for new products. What have you got for us this week, Samantha?
So the product this week is actually a client benchmark product. So we have a client that wants to create a primer, and the benchmark she's given us is Tatcha. So anyone that has ever heard about their famous water cream will know about Tatcha. I wrote down a couple of points about the product. So it contains silk powder for that really soft silky finish on the skin, and pink and gold pearls to brighten. So I've tested the product, and I don't know if you can see that well, but from just looking at the colour of it, you can tell it certainly does contain the pearls in those colours, the pink and the gold. And it is incredibly soft. It certainly has that silk powder. You could tell automatically. I applied it yesterday and it did leave my skin really silky, soft, even after I'd removed it at the end of the day with some micellar water, and then this morning, putting on some product, my skin still felt softer. It certainly brightened it as well. I applied it and then didn't put anything else on, not even foundation, and I was obviously brighter. So yeah, those are the positives. It does make a claim about blurring pores. I didn't see that really that much. I've known products do that better. But certainly a very high quality product. So it'd be good to know from you some more about the ingredients in there.
Right, well, first of all, this is a seriously well formulated product. I absolutely love the skin feel, the way it rubs in, and just the sensual pleasure of having it on my skin. It's, in formulation terms, this is poetry. It's a work of art. I'm highly impressed. As to what's actually making it work, well, first off, I'm not sure I agree that it's not a good blurring product. I've just put it on the back of my hand, and I think the hand that's treated with it has got a much smoother appearance already straight away. And this blurring effect is something that's only been around for a while. It's a technique that was pioneered by the brand Nano Blur. And the way it works is it's like when you put treacle onto frosted glass. That you can see through frosted glass with treacle, because the treacle's got the same refractive index as the glass, and so when you put the treacle on the glass, it basically stops there being a discontinuity from the frosting. And this works out, I think, in much the same way. So the product's laying on the skin, matching its refractive index and making it more likely to reflect light than to scatter it. So that's quite good. I think looking at it, I might be imagining this. I think I can see the silk powder, but I don't think the silk powder is actually making much impact to the silky feel. I think that comes from the silicones in the formulation. I've got the ingredient list here, and if you look at the list, the first thing is some kind of filtrate. I think I'll ignore that. It's a rice ferment filtrate, but I'm not really interested in that. What I'm interested in is the first item on the ingredient list, which is cytopentasiloxane, which is a silicone. Now, to say this product is based on silicones doesn't really get you very far in terms of describing how the product works. It's a bit like saying, a meal is made out of food. There are so many silicones to choose from, and the way you choose them, blend them and process them is all highly important, and somebody has done a fantastic job of coming up with just the right blend to have just the right refractive index to have a blurring effect, just the right skin feel to make the product really smooth and easy to apply. But of course, it's not just the skin feel that matters. There's also the pigments, which are what's making the product work to act as a primer. And these, unfortunately, are not based on gold or even on pearl. The ingredient list shows that they are mica, tin oxide, and iron oxide and titanium dioxide. These are all pigments, and these pigments I think have been processed into very, 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 very thin plates, which have the effect of making them highly reflective and reflecting at particular wavelengths, so you can get colours that look like gold or look pink, even though the pigments themselves aren't quite that colour. So it's a very useful way of getting just the colour you want into a product like this, and the colour is obviously a very sort of very, very light fleshy sort of tone, which is a useful background. Going back to the skill whoever formulated this product, when you apply pigments to the skin, it's not like sort of putting paint on a paintbrush. The pigments have to be dispersed in such a way that they can remain suspended in just the right form and dispersion in the product for whatever the shelf life is. You'd expect a product like this to have a shelf life in excess of 30 months. Pigments are heavy and gravity's on all the time, so it takes some effort to come up with a product where the pigments are not only the right intensity, the right colour, the right match for the purpose you're putting them in there for, but also to be stable enough to stay where you put them for that length of time. They've achieved that by using some polymers. There's a thing called biopolymer in there, and there's some other acrylic polymers as well. And it's not the least difficult thing in formulating to come up with a polymeric system that suspends your pigments, but which also doesn't adversely affect the skin feel of the product. So that's again something which inspires my admiration quite a lot. So that's basically an extremely good product. The packaging is appropriate to a product of such high quality, and yes, I think it's quite good. What does it sell for, Samantha?
So the average price seems to be around £60 from looking online. Doesn't seem to be available from the usual suspects in the UK, such as Boots, etc. From looking, the one I could see was Cosmetics Now, so some more obscure sites to get it over to us in the UK. My main question now, after hearing you speak about the product so highly, is does that admiration come from a formulator's perspective? You know the work gone into selecting the silicones, how to achieve the feel, or is the admiration also based on the effect the product will have to the end user? That's something that I was curious about, and if it is so high quality in terms of the effect it can have for the end user, is it worth it for that £60 price tag?
£60, that's a pretty stiff price, especially when you look at this and you think, well, actually that looks like quite a big pack, but that's only 30 mils. I mean, 30 mils is nothing really. So they're playing the game of creating a pack that has a very big size impression with actually not actually having very much gloop in it. So I'm a bit disapproving of that, but on the whole I stick by the advice I usually give when people ask me about whether something is worth a particular price. Ignore the price tag. Basically, personal care products, makeup, things like that, they cost really quite a low amount of money as a proportion of your income, even if they're quite expensive products. Nice ones that you like, are part of the things that give you pleasure in life and make life worth living. Is it really worth worrying about the price of them? But equally, I would say there isn't a huge correlation between price and quality. So if you've got a product that you like, even if it's on the cheap end of the price points, stick with it. How it feels is what matters, not what it costs. And do your best to ignore the industry's marketing hype. I mainly admire the skill of the formulator in turning this into a product, but of course that also translates into the product being one that's good for the end user, because by definition, if you're formulating a good product, you're both a good formulator and you're producing good formulations. So the two things sort of work together.
So it sounds as if this has been a very popular product. If there's any others in particular you'd like us to review next, do let us know in the comments below. So until next time, bye.